Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to Steve Cooper's podcast. In each episode, I strive to bring industry subject matter experts and investors together and share experiences. And today, I'm really excited. I've got the opportunity to introduce someone who began his career in the trades, in the trenches as a carpenter and framer, learning construction right from the ground up before moving into project management. He holds a Bachelor of Technology in Construction Management from BCIT, a project management professional designation, much like myself, from the University of Victoria. He is the founder and president of Venture Pacific Construction Management out of Vancouver. He's and so it is my extreme pleasure to introduce Mark Van Eck from Venture Pacific. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate the kind words and the introduction. Happy to be here.
Yeah, really happy to have you join us today.
Good. Yeah, it's been a long road. As you said, I started swinging a hammer and just realized at one point maybe I had the entrepreneurial blood in me very early on, but I just didn't want to swing a hammer for the rest of my life. So I wanted to do more, wanted to know more, wanted to just expand and grow.
That's awesome, and like you say, I think it's almost 40 years you've been doing this now.
Yeah.
Tell me something, Mark. If you were to look back through that, what would you characterize as the biggest lessons that you've learned about people, about business, leadership, anything along the lines of construction? What are your biggest lessons that you've taken and used to grow your business? Ladies and gentlemen, before we get started, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's episode, the Savvy Investor. One thing I've learned in my real estate journey is that success isn't just about finding great deals. It's about surrounding yourself with the right people, the right education, and the right support network. And that's exactly what Savvy Squad provides. Whether you are just getting started or already building a portfolio, you'll gain access to weekly live coaching, expert guest presenters, deal analyzers, training resources, market updates, and a community of like-minded investors who are all working toward exactly the same goal as you, financial freedom through real estate. So right now, if you scan this QR code, you can take advantage of a 14-day free trial and a special membership rate of $147 a month. Now, that's a savings of over $600 off your membership. So check out Savvy Squad today and see how far the right community can take you. And now, taken and used to grow your business.
You know, the construction aspect of it seemed to come naturally, how things went together and how things were built. But I think the biggest challenge was really on the leadership side, the learning how to manage and lead people and do that well. Um, Construction is hard, and it's not an easy business to manage and run, and you're dealing with challenges and issues, and you're right in the thick of it, but you have to really manage the people and the processes through those challenges. And I think, yeah, learning those leadership skills as I grew and developed myself, well, that was my biggest challenge.
I've got a lot of experience that is coming along a similar path to your own, although albeit not in the construction industry, but certainly from the ground up, learning your trade and making sure you're comfortable and competent in that the hands-on level, and then growing into leadership. It actually does require a different mindset, a different skill set, and in these cases, you're learning to impart not necessarily the hands-on skills which people bring together, but impart the knowledge and direction so that they align on a project, right? So I understand what you're saying there.
Yeah, and you don't want to, when the pressure's on, then uh, you have to remain calm. You have to keep everyone, the homeowner, the trades, the designers, all on the same side when that pressure is high. And that's a hard part, but it's also the most important part, right?
So tell me about your approach to communication then, to keep the team aligned on their goals as well as your investors or homeowners informed. How do you go about this?
Well, it's always been about planning, and it's really before the shovel hits the ground, before the first hammer swings, is going through a very important planning process and putting everybody on the same side of the table, working together through all the parts and pieces on paper before the actual physical project starts. And that's one of the reasons why I gravitated towards the PMP designation too, was that planning process, that project management and planning process, and recognizing how important that process really is. And the better you do that, and the better you get everybody aligned, and the better you um, make sure that everybody is aware of exactly what their roles are and how they integrate with each other, the smoother the actual construction process takes or goes. And it did happen quite often where that planning process actually took longer than the construction itself, and that was just an indication of how important it is.
Absolutely. As a PMP myself, I recognize the individual phases that a project lifespan would go through: the initiation, the planning, the execution, etc. And if you look at all of the individual processes that come together in the planning phase, it is really quite complex.
Yeah.
This is where you pull together not only the concept, but also you cost it. You look at the materials and the people and the various the sequence of events, the scheduling, etc. It's actually quite complex.
Yeah.
Do you um do you think your approach to this has evolved through time?
Oh, most definitely. I can recall, and I'm not ashamed to say it too. When you're younger, you think, "Oh, I can do everything. I know everything," and just let's all just do it my way, so to speak. And as you evolve and mature, I guess you recognize that it is all about the team and the successes that we have, that the project has, is shared by everybody that has a part and a piece in it, involved in it. And yeah, my process, my project management process, has definitely evolved, recognizing the importance of the partnerships that we develop with all the players and all the stakeholders.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah.
I think that partnerships from across different disciplines are really important as we look at. You've worked a lot with homeowners in the past, with investors that are looking to accomplish things. But like myself as an investor, we bring in a much larger team into bringing things to fruition.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I really appreciate about what you do is your engagement with the team. The last time you and I talked, you brought up a story about an awards banquet that you went to. So to share a little bit about that with us.
Yeah, the big awards banquet here in the Lower Mainland is the Georgie Awards, and that's it's recognizing the excellence in our industry province wide. And you submit projects that are within categories that the Georgie Committee has put together, and you're you're up against some other great projects from great builders, and you get together, banquets, a black tie affair, you're wearing a tuxedo and the whole bit, and just in awe over the caliber of the projects and the workmanship and design that you see on the screens. We we were with two projects, and therefore we had two sets of design teams, two sets of homeowners, and we had two tables. We had a lot of people there because, again, that partnership, that team, is not just about me and my staff. It's the homeowner, it's the design team, it's our site managers. We want everybody there to share in the success of that project. And We weren't winners. We were finalists, which is great. But being there in that environment was an honor in itself, and our projects were a success for us, and it was a winner in our books. Whether we got the Georgie or not, it was still a winner.
I love that you celebrated that with all members of the team. I think that that's actually imperative that we get to recognize those wins, and so good on you for that.
Yeah.
Um, what do you say would be the most difficult project you undertook? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Um, well, I certainly gravitate towards the challenging projects. There's a lot of projects that were big and challenging and difficult, but the one that really stands out in my mind was a house uh, project that we did a few years ago, where the homeowner was traveling in. He was in Mission and traveling into Vancouver every day because his job. He was a music producer, and he had a rented studio in Vancouver, and he just hated the commute. So he wanted to put a sound studio in his basement. But the problem was he didn't have a basement. His house was on a crawl space, and his house was a 100-year-old heritage schoolhouse that he had converted into a house. So we had to figure out how to get a sound studio underneath this house. So the challenge was raising the house up. We had to raise it up 17 feet so that you're working underneath a house at 17 feet over your head, supported there. And we worked with Nickel Brothers on that project and built a complete sound studio in the basement, or created a basement, and then lowered the house back on the basement. It was a very technical, challenging project, one that I'll never forget. Uh, but it went smoothly. At the end of the day, it just went smoothly again because of that preparation and planning that went into um, putting that project together. That kind of work doesn't leave room for just improvisation, improvisation, whatever. It if the plan is right, it goes right, and we planned it right. So
Awesome.
yeah,
I love that. That
yeah,
sounds like a cool project.
yeah.
Your company's based in Vancouver, but you and I have talked about being able to support projects outside of this province, and being able to expand with with me as an investor working on projects across the Alberta, the prairies, and that I think is an important realization for people is we're not really constrained inside of these boundaries. We've got the ability to think outside of our little box that we live in. Um, when you're doing something like that, those projects require an extension of your team, right? You've got to be able to build a team that's further than your front doorstep. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, a big chunk of my career was projects in Western Canada. So location doesn't concern me. It really is about the management and again how you plan and prepare that project prior to the shovel hitting the ground. I would parachute myself into the location where the project was and start setting the team up in advance and making sure we have the right players in place, right from the site management all the way through to all the trades, and yeah, managing the project from a remote location. And nowadays with technology, that's a lot easier to do, and it really is. You can have a brand new team, a brand new site manager in a remote location. You can have a brand new trade, as long as the planning process is done properly and everybody knows exactly what they're responsible for and how all the parts and pieces fit. Whether the project is here in your backyard or in another province, a next door province, it's the only difference is the location, is the distance between you, but managing the project is the same.
I love that.
Yeah.
Really helps people to overcome a lot of the barriers when they, you know, uh, are no longer limited by their physical space.
Mhm.
So, as you know, many of our investor or many of our the members of my audience here are real estate investors. When they're evaluating a project, say it's a major renovation or a builder, what do you think are some of the red flags that they should watch out for?
Well, certainly making sure that the builder has some form of a systems or process, and it's well documented and it's visual. It's not just all in the business owner's head. That there is an actual process that is followed, and you can physically see it. And um, another one, a big one, is a contract, having a formal contract, and it's not just a back of the napkin type of deal. It's a contract that recognizes the roles and responsibilities of all the players, and puts everybody on the same side of the table contractually. Um, I also would like to see that they have a builder that is recognizing the importance of the relationship after the project is finished. So they have a proper warranty process. They have a proper procedure for how to maintain the relationship after the project is finished. So a good warranty program, show them examples of their past warranty manuals and maintenance manuals, and how do they stay connected with the homeowner to make sure that maintenance is taken care of.
Very cool. Very cool. Hey, if if we look back, you've got 40 years now of experience here in construction, and you've seen a lot of things come and go. Certainly, construction styles here in British Columbia have evolved. We've got gone from what we've lovingly referred to as the BC box through BC modern and all of the Whistler style construction projects, etc. From your perspective, what changes do you see coming to housing development and construction styles here in BC? Do you see this moving even further? Have you got some vision of the future construction projects?
We're already starting to see movement towards energy efficiency, building houses that last. Um, in the Lower Mainland, we have a lot of moisture and rain, and so we're seeing houses that are paying more attention to protection from the elements, the envelope, and then the energy side of things on the efficiency. um, Net zero is a big one. Carbon neutral, you're hearing more about it. And then also time, trying to shorten the timelines, and getting into modular. There's always something evolving, something changing. I don't think that that will ever stop. We'll always be looking to the next best thing. I think the construction industry is a very dynamic and exciting industry to be in, um, and staying on top of those advancements, staying on top of those benefits to the environment, those benefits to society and culture is important. So staying on top of all that as a business owner is important as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's critical, and like you mentioned, there's been so much change over the last little while. Um, that hasn't come without cost to build, or impact on cost to build, of course. Um, and, uh, and I don't know if we've actually reached a point where we're actually seeing those costs come down as the industry catches up with the demand a little bit. It's something that I think we've all got our eyes on, um, and we're seeing now a lot of a lot of communities are looking to increase density. There come, the missing middle topic has come up an awful lot, and we're seeing four, six, eight plexes going up in areas where there used to be single family homes. We see that certainly a lot in Alberta and other provinces. How about in British Columbia? Are you seeing a lot of those, and are you getting involved in any?
Yeah, we are. There's a lot of things happening right now, and one of them is Metro Pacific getting involved in development. And you're right, the missing middle piece and the multiplex is an area that we're starting to move into. Um, we are still staying focused on being a builder, being a custom home builder and renovator for homeowners, but it's also nice to look at being property developers for ourselves as well. Um, the multiplex and the missing middle piece, we're in the process of raising capital, which is a big hurdle. It always needs cash. So we're in the process of raising capital to help us get to that next step. It's an exciting road that we're on right now. I'm looking forward to where that's going to go. But you're right. It's an evolving direction that the Lower Mainland seems to be going in, the higher density and filling in that missing middle piece.
Yeah, it's exciting for sure.
Yeah,
I've seen it happen, I think, too quickly in other areas where there hasn't been enough time and attention into the quality or the lasting impact on the communities. I think that that's maturing a little bit now as people recognize what's required. Was certainly exciting to see things come together.
yeah,
Um, I mean, and yet at the same time, living here in British Columbia through what is a significantly different market than it would have been 3 years ago, where we're seeing a lot of challenges as the housing market is realizing, hey, people can't afford to live here. They're moving out of province, and house prices are being reduced, and we're seeing a lot of challenges and pressure where there's no longer the demand that we used to have, and therefore there's a bit of imbalance in supply and demand.
yeah,
That's got to be hard on your industry as you look at, um, trying to make sure you keep your team engaged.
yeah,
And you and I have talked about this a bit. So, the things you're doing to overcome that, the stretch into different markets and looking to try and make sure that you've got the next jobs lined up. That's where I think what impressed me, one of the most impressive parts about our conversation has been looking not so much on what's happening today, but what's going to be happening next year, what's going to be happening in 6 months' time, and keeping that order book filled with opportunities. I love the direction you're going in that. Do you want to talk a bit about it?
yeah. The construction world and the sales process and bringing projects uh, actually to a signed contract is a long process and a lengthy one. Um, the sales cycle it varies, so it's always a challenge to be able to forecast enough and to know exactly uh, where we need to be 6 months, 9 months, 18 months out.
Yeah,
It's not like we're selling widgets. Of course, we're selling dreams. We're selling you know, somebody's the biggest investment that the homeowner is ever going to engage in, and we it's not just a construction process, it's the entire process, and we want to make sure that we remove that stress from the homeowner, so we're working with them for a very long period of time, and there's still the uncertainty because we don't know at the end of the day if they're actually going to commit and start swinging that hammer or put that shovel in the ground. And so everything that we do has to be very carefully thought out and planned out to make sure that it's a smooth process and a comfortable process. We want to remove the uncertainty, but it's hard. It's removing that uncertainty is hard. Knowing where we're going to be 6 months from now, whether we're working directly with a homeowner or just out there marketing and uh, knocking on doors. It's a lot of uncertainty.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Mark, it dawned on me that you started Venture Pacific in 2007,
Yeah.
right before the mortgage meltdown and recession that happened in 2008. How was that experience on your business and your and your direction?
In 2007, I was still doing commercial projects at that time. We were doing a lot of recreational facilities in Western Canada, not necessarily in the Lower Mainland, mostly in remote communities where the federal government was offering infrastructure money or grant money for municipalities to add or upgrade their recreational facilities for their aging population. And the federal government was concerned that we weren't having the recreational needs to for the aging population. So in 2007, during that challenging time, the federal government still had money, and we were doing a lot of those projects at that time. I shifted over to the residential world and took all of the knowledge and construction management and project management knowledge and experience and moved it over to the residential world more around 2020. So I guess that that challenging time was behind us. So I didn't really experience it back in 2008 and 2009. I was just working in the commercial world.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then you moved into the residential world just as we started looking at the next crisis, which was COVID.
COVID, yeah, yeah,
From one
yeah.
out of one frying pan into the fire, I guess, as they say.
Yeah.
Um, so, if you could sit down with that 25-year-old version of Mark Van Eck and have coffee with him, what advice would you give him?
Um, I think right off the bat, I would say, Steve, get a business coach right away. Don't wait. Um, uh, don't take the attitude that you don't need one, or wait until you think you've earned it, or when things get hard enough, you feel like you need one. I spent years trying to figure out just through trial and error. And those are things that a good coach could have helped me see earlier. How to lead a team, how to build a business, how to manage the finances, how to build a business that doesn't entirely depend on me. Just even making decisions properly when you're down deep and thick into the problems. How do you make decisions when you're too close to the problem, right? Um, so the business coach is something that I wish I had done earlier. The technical side of construction I could learn on the job site. The leadership side, the business side, that needed a different kind of investment, and I should have invested in a business coach. And I would tell my younger self, um, it's a good investment to make. And I
You
wish
bet.
I had made it sooner.
We're getting close to time here, Mark. I'd love to actually understand a little bit about, what's moving you forward. You're still growing your business, 40 years in here. You've got a vision for where you want to go. What does success look like?
Yeah, success to me, Steve, is really seeing a family move into a home that we built or renovated, and knowing that they enjoyed the process. That's rare in this industry. You hear a lot of horror stories, and it shouldn't be. When a homeowner finishes a project and says, "It felt different," and I always knew what was happening, and I never felt lost or stressed.
Yeah,
That's the win to me. Not the building itself. The construction is exciting, but the experience that they had getting there and making sure that that was an enjoyable process and a stress free process, that's a win to me. And it will really come out and show if you're able to maintain the relationship with that family, and know that when you see them that they were happy with the process and enjoyed that process, right?
I love it. I love it. I think that's so important, considering um, like you say, all of the horror stories that people have to share with things that they wish they'd done differently. It's so good to understand that your focus is all about making sure that the experience is a good one.
Yeah.
Happiness with the end project, but the experience in getting there is key.
Yeah.
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 Certainly, I've run through a few experiences that have not been.
Yeah.
Hey, well, thank you very much, Mark. I really appreciate you joining me today on Steve Cooper's podcast. Is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap up?
Um, well, thank you for having me on the podcast. It's an honor. It really is. You and I have talked several times, and I've enjoyed getting to know you. And I thank you for this opportunity to share a little bit about my story. Um, yeah, I've been in it, like you said, for 40 years, and I really feel that homeowners, they deserve to have someone in their corner that knows the difference between a good project and a bad one, and knows the direction that things need to go before it's too late to change it, right? And uh, I hope that I've come across as being that kind of guy. So, but thank you.
I believe you have. Now, I'm going to put contact information for Venture Pacific into the podcast. But if somebody wants to reach you today, how should they do so? What's the best means to get a hold of you?
Well, the easiest one is just to go to our website, all of our contact information, and you can actually reach out to us through our website, venturepacific.ca. And we're on all the social platforms, and all of that's on our website as well. So just reaching out through our website is probably one of the easiest.
That's perfect. Before I forget, and I left it far too late in the podcast, if you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like it, to share it, and to make sure you're subscribed to it. I appreciate all of you. Thank you very much, Mark. It's been a true pleasure.
Thank you, Steve. It was an honor.